I I I I I I I I I I am become meme. Yeah, pretty much. I am become meme. I am become meme. I am become meme. I'm living the meme. It's like there's living the dream and there's living the meme, and it's pretty much what's happening, you know.
Welcome back to Western Kabuki. My name is Caleb. As always, I am joined by my co-hosts. Alex, how are you doing, pal?
I've received 17 emails from the U.S. government telling me that I need to justify my existence or submit to dehumanification and just sort of cease to exist. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah,
it's crazy. They're just gonna melt us down,
right?
If we're not productive enough.
Yeah, the PlayStation Blood Boys are gonna get you.
You need to produce so much value for your shareholders these days. It's kind of getting ridiculous. It's getting really complicated. Fuck. Good luck.
I told them that I think, therefore I meme, and or whatever he said. I meme, therefore I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm sorry.
That's somehow worse.
Dude, did you guys see at CPAC? He said that I want to kill myself just thinking about this. He said, "I am become meme."
Yeah, that's what Alex. I'm assuming you were referencing.
Yeah, I was trying, but I tried to come up with the worst possible thing, and it wasn't bad enough.
It's because your brain, to save you, your brain shut down and made you forget what he actually said. It's so bad.
And not only is hearing it awful, reading it in text form is even worse. You just feel physical pain, like knives stabbing you in your stomach, and then there's one in your heart, and then there's another one in your brain. It's 5 knives just throughout 2 sentences.
They condensed it into 17 minutes, and it was 17-minute Elon cringe challenge. See how far you can get. And again, we talk about this guy for money professionally. I've hated this man since Obama was president. I've hated Elon Musk for that long, and I still couldn't get much through about halfway through,
Yeah, no, I think my earliest memory of Elon Musk, strangely, I was 16 or something like that. And I must have read his name somewhere, or I don't know how I first saw anything about him, but I was hanging out with the person I was dating at the time when I was 17, over 12 years ago at this point. And I just said his name. I just said Elon Musk. And she was like, "Who's that?" I was like, "I don't know." Little did I know that I was going to hate this dude 12 years, basically, after being I should look into this guy. And then realizing, he does green tech, but he kind of sucks and is weird. Okay. If I could go back in time to 17-year-old me 12 years ago and tell myself that I would still be thinking about this fucker, I would fucking kill myself. I know I wouldn't kill myself. Things aren't that bad. I wouldn't do that. No, I just wouldn't believe it.
I feel like I only know he exists because of his cameo in Iron Man 2. Which I think says as much about me as it does about him.
He actually was in Iron Man 2. I thought that was a joke. I know he was in Rick and Morty. I didn't know he was in Iron Man.
So, Tony Stark is a billionaire, debonair billionaire philanthropist. So naturally, they put another debonair billionaire in there, good old Elon Musk.
And he's based. I found out recently that he was on an episode of Big Bang Theory. 7 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, dude, and that's when we lost the culture war, was that.
Yeah. Did you ever see the clip? Have either of you seen his appearance on that show? He fucking Sheldon, but young Sheldon, but old, was working at a restaurant. He was just in the kitchen somewhere or something, and he was doing dishes. And he looks over and sees Elon Musk bring in more stuff to wash. And Sheldon is Elon Musk, wah, 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 wah. And he's "What are you doing here, Elon Musk?" And Elon's "I work here. I'm just, I'm just like you. I'm just like you. I'm so nice. I'm so wah, wah, wah. I'm just helping out. I'm doing what I can."
Can you imagine, by the way, a Sheldon follow-up show where old Sheldon does like advanced schizo racism on X, the Everything app, and has like 300,000 followers and like has done so many crypto rug pulls. That would be so sick.
Sheldon would be a Grum's reply guy these days.
Oh, dude. And it's because his father had a heart attack and died when he was young. Because his dad, old Bill Ponderosa from It's Always Sunny, was the dad in that. He would have beat the shit out of him and whipped him into shape. Like, that's what he should have done to Sheldon.
Something I'm learning about you again today is that you are updated with the young Sheldon lore.
Yeah, dude. You got that Big Bang Universe lore going on.
Yeah. The pilot episode for the podcast I was on before this one, our pilot episode was on young Sheldon, and
no way.
I did watch. Yeah, I did watch the however many episodes are out at that point, and it was very, very fucking painful. I've never actually watched Big Bang Theory, but I have watched some young Sheldon.
So you know the backstory. You know his backstory, some of his past.
I do. Unfortunately, I do. Yeah, his epic grandma, Mima, or whatever. And she's like the cool grandma who like dates and like break dances and has fun. You know, it's like, this is the worst guy. It was so insulting to my existence. And like the worst part about that is like during this time, everyone used to tell me like, you should watch Big Bang Theory. I think you'd think it was really funny. And then dude, like I have so many people I want to go back who told me that over the years. I'm like, do you fucking know what you said to me? That's so offensive. Anyway, June, we did not ask you, as always, we're always also joined by June. How are you doing, June?
Really well. Coincidentally, I'm doing a marathon of Big Bang Theory and Young Sheldon, and I'm starting a new podcast adjacent to this one about Young Sheldon and then going through the Big Bang Theory. So stay tuned for that.
Really excited for you. You're going to learn a lot.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun episode mostly. We're doing news and maybe some Q&A. We'll see how we do on time and how we're all feeling. Most of the stories are fun. There's some serious stuff in there as always, but yeah.
Oh, there's some goofy ones.
There's some good stuff, I think. And yeah, we're looking forward to it. So let's go through. We usually read every story, but I kind of feel like there are a lot of stories where like maybe it's better just to read the headline and move on. So I'm gonna hit you guys with some banger headlines.
Fuck yeah.
Okay. I can't wait.
In the last day or two. TVs at the Housing and Urban Development Building played an AI-generated video of Donald Trump sucking Elon Musk's toes.
Did you see that? Did you see the actual video?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's disgusting.
It's really gnarly. Like I was shocked. Honestly,
I put the picture of the thumbnail in there just so you guys could see it. It was really funny. In the Wired article that I had read, was they were like, it appears to be AI generated because Elon has 2 left feet.
I like that. That's the thing that was like, okay, we're sure this is AI generated, not the he's sucking his toes part. That's more believable than.
By the way, every headline actually says he's kissing Elon's feet, but that's not what the video shows. So I actually editorialized that for the good people at Wired.com. He's sucking toes. That's what's going on.
Yeah, he's fully sucking toes.
He's sucking toes.
He's slobbering on it. He's getting in there. He's cleaning up he's cleaning in there. He's going to town. No, so I saw this morning, and like this type of story every once in a blue moon, there will be like a AI generated thing to like dunk on like Elon or someone like that. And like deep down, I'm like, I despise generative AI. I think it's evil. I think it's bad for art. I think it's bad for writers. I think it's just bad generally for any myriad of reasons. But I don't know. Sometimes like this is kind of funny. I don't know. Like, I can't help but think it's kind of incredible on some level. I wish it wasn't AI generated, but goddamn.
Listen, if you're a federal employee and you're looking for ways to fight back, like, good job. This is the way to do it for sure.
Yeah, because it embarrasses them.
You know how pissed off he was when they released like multiple statements saying like it's a waste of government resources that we had to deal with this, and by deal with that, they had to turn off like 10 TVs or whatever. But like, come on.
Did like Doge put out that statement?
It was actually HUD. 2 people from HUD released statements.
I can't believe that anybody released a statement. Like releasing a statement about it is just like saying, "Don't put in the paper that I got mad."
Yeah, exactly. You just ignore that shit, dude. These people don't understand what it's like. I think to like get yelled at on the internet yet. They'll learn, but You just don't acknowledge it.
I mean, I think that all of that just goes to show that there is like a lot of discontent in the government right now, and like just outright mutiny in every department.
Did you see the response to the OPM letter? So the Office of Personnel Management, this like late last week, I think Friday night, sent a thing to every government employee, which was like, send a letter that says 5 things that you did this week, or we'll consider that your resignation. And I know someone who works at the CDC, and they sent me a link to a Reddit thread with a copy of the email that they got from HHS, from the Health and Human Services. And it says, on Saturday, you received an email from OPM entitled, "What did you do last week?" The directive stated employees were to submit 5 bullets detailing their accomplishments in the past week. In discussion with OPM officials yesterday and today, OPM has now rescinded the mandatory requirement. There's no HHS expectation that HHS employees respond to OPM, and there's no impact to your employment with the agency if you choose not to respond. That said, if you choose to respond, here are guidelines you should follow. And the guidelines are like, don't name anybody else. Don't identify anybody else. Don't talk specifics. Don't identify by name any drugs, devices, biologics, therapeutics, or similar items in your response. If you're engaged in any scientific experiments, research, or reviews, do not provide any information that could allow anyone to identify the precise nature of your work. Respond by replying to OPM HR email as instructed. And then the last bullet of this email that was sent by the head of HHS is, assume what you write will be read by malign foreign actors and tailor your response accordingly. Which is
that line is crazy.
Bonkers.
Yes. It's funny too, because like I'm not saying he's good. He's obviously a dog shit, terrible, evil guy. But Kash Patel for both the ATF and the FBI immediately after that was like, don't do this. Don't respond to this email at all.
Wait, Kash Patel even said that?
Yeah.
Yes, he was the first head of any department to come out and be like, nope, don't do that.
That's insane.
Not only
that,
but after everybody was like, hey, this really fucked up thing got sent to all of us, and our bosses told us not to respond, Elon Musk went on Twitter and was like, they're going to get one more try this week and then they'll be fired.
That fucking dork, White Urkel, has really overplayed his hand here. Like, I don't think he understands. I just like, first of all, like, obviously there's like a lot of competing factions within this administration and movement, and everybody who's not in the kind of like techno-cell internet fascist dork camp hates Elon. Steve Bannon famously fucking hates. I would imagine Kash Patel also hates. Like, these guys do not like him.
It's interesting because like they are of the same general ideology at the end of the day. It's just that Elon Musk is just actually that insufferable. And like we know that at this point. I mean, the fucking CPAC moment where he said the I am become meme when he was like, they're trying to ban, they try to make comedy illegal. Yeah. And like he went on like that Fox News clip and did like the dinosaur shit. I don't know if you even saw that one, but he imitated a dinosaur. Did you? Yeah. No, just like the most awful stuff. Yeah.
I'm like, I never thought I was going to be one of those people who's like, I can't watch the news. I need to preserve my mental health. But fucking, I do, dude.
Yeah.
I'm there.
Yeah. But did you guys see, by the way, at the end of that clip, he walked, I don't know which one of his, I probably couldn't pronounce or spell one of his awful cyber children's names anyway, but he like walked off the stage with his kid in tow, and then just forgot that his kid was with him and left him literally behind stage and walked out to the tunnel. Like, Jesus. Yeah, you don't need him anymore as your fucking human shield, so you just leave him.
Speaking of the human shield shit, this is not a headline that's on here, but it's related, talking about his cyber children. The new secret child that he has with that like Ashley St. Clair, which is fucking crazy. I think we all kind of knew, granted, like given that he has 13 kids, 13 human shields rather, that he is obsessed with just like producing as many offspring as possible for some psychotic reason. But this confirms it.
Yeah, he very clearly is. And this is like very like eugenics centered and insane and bad. But I saw somebody post something interesting today that like they think that he the reason that he's so, because like he's not actually fucking these women. He's like doing test tube so he could do like perfect gene, whatever selection stuff, which is bad. But like, they think that he believes that he can like transplant his own consciousness into one of his like test tube children.
I mean, I suppose
Did you see that thread?
that is like the most compelling argument one could make for his behavior.
Yeah, it's either that or his dick is fucked up like Epstein from some sort of botched
Well, that's
surgery.
also been a thing that at least Azalea Banks rumored that his dick was weird.
His dick's fucked up. Could be either or both.
It's scary that it could be either. Convincingly.
I saw someone, and I wish I could remember who it was because I want to give them credit. They were like, it's so weird that he like is fucking all these women because he wants to create like a race of supermen, but the only people he's sleeping with are like B-tier conservative celebrities.
Yeah.
I just to clarify, I know exactly who said that. That person actually is like a fascy right winger, so I'm not going to give them credit. I'm not going to give them credit.
You don't.
That person. That's an op of mine. I do not.
Don't
like that
have
guy.
to give them credit, is what I'm trying to say.
But he was right for that, though. Genuinely, like,
interesting that,
what is he doing?
A lot of people don't like Elon Musk. They have had to stomach his bullshit because he's been useful. But I'm telling you guys, the second that Elon Musk is no longer important to this movement, they're going to throw him to the wolves. And it's going to be like fucking Super Bowl and Christmas and Hanukkah. It's going to be my birthday. I mean, it's going to be every day in one as soon as that becomes apparently clear that he's no longer a part of the whatever you want to call this horrifying moment.
Yeah, so my current theory, and of course I'm probably going to be wrong because I've been wrong about most things politically that have happened in the last 12 years, as most of us have. But my current working theory is that Elon Musk has a total time in government, two more years maximum. That's the absolute maximum. He could go any day now if he continues to just fuck up and becomes like the fall guy or whatever. Like, his polling is atrocious. Trump's polling is off a cliff.
We're going to talk about
economic
Elon specific polling soon, by the way. It's going to be great.
Oh God, I can't wait. But like economic, like the thoughts about the economy are in the gutter. Like, no one is confident. The stock market's in the trash as of recording right now. Like, they are fucking up so bad that if he makes it through this first 2 years, he's going to be thrown out by midterms. Because I do think that even if Democrats don't do anything, like if they continue down the path of just sitting around and doing nothing, I still do think they will kind of just win the midterms just because they're not Republicans. So I think that's like the final moment that Elon
I'm starting
Musk
to see like what do you want, coworkers, people in your personal lives and stuff that are conservative or maybe moderate or whatever, that like, I'm sure a lot of people listening to this have people like that in their lives, maybe a family member or whomever. I'm starting to see like some lines start to crack. Like my brother, who I talk about politics with a lot, and he and I are very different. I love him, but we just don't agree on anything, right? He told me the other night, he's like, I think Elon's done. So he's kind of like, every one of my family members, I think, is a little different politically, and I kind of use them all as my canary in the coal mine to see like where things are. And it's like, shit, dude, my brother thinks Elon's done. That like kind of is like a broader optics thing for me. I don't know.
That's more important than polling. Like actual polling. Like if your cousin or brother that doesn't really pay attention to politics and is sort of a lughead has a feeling about the country, they're probably right.
Yeah,
that's
dude.
Usually how everything goes. Just final thoughts on the whole Elon Musk situation, though, that we were talking about. I just think it's psychotic that it's very clear. Like, I didn't see. There was an image floating around a couple of days ago of all of his human shields and their names and genders, and of course, one of them is trans. But every single person in that list, he selected with in vitro, what is it called? In vitro. I don't know science, apparently.
Yeah.
That. Wait, say that. Hold on. I got to work through this. In vitro.
This is like talking to my 10-year-old. In vitro fertilization.
In vitro fertilization.
You're literally the one with the science background.
Yeah, I know.
You're the one who went to science school.
Okay, before I get back to that, So I went for environmental science. So whenever I don't know things about like medical science, everyone's like, "I thought you were a biologist." I'm like, "I am, but not medical." I don't know. But no. So he selected for male for every single one of his kids.
Of course he did.
And that is insane to me. That he is
That's why he wants to pass his brain down to one of them.
He wants to create a lineage, a dynasty, a genuine dynasty of Musks.
He wants to being John Malkovich all of his kids.
Yeah. He wants to be the modern Genghis Khan. Like, I believe that. Like, he wants to spread his genealogy across the world. I think that's part of his plan. And it's insane and scary.
Nasty motherfucker.
Disgusting
nasty
freak.
Bitch. Okay. More headlines that we'll just kind of rapid fire. TikTokers dropping heavy objects on feet in viral trend risk lifetime of pain.
So wait,
the photo for this one too. It's a guy holding what it's like maybe some sort of like space heater or something. He has kind of like a I don't know, like he has.
It looks like an air fryer. Like in this image, it looks like an air fryer or something.
Very clearly does not look happy. He's about to drop that on his foot. And that is a trend I've seen, by the way. It's not like a huge trend, but people are doing it. I don't know why.
So, okay, hold on. Is it just like current, like there's a style of content where people just harm themselves because it like gets them popular. That's just what this is, right? Like this is
like
current...
Tide Pod discourse.
Yeah, this is 2025's Tide Pod.
Was that like, from what I remember, the Tide Pod shit wasn't really real though? It was mostly a meme. Like people were kind of joking
too. There's like a handful of people that do it as like a joke. And what it started out as, and it was actually very funny. There was a trend where, and it started with one guy and then it spread. One guy would be blindfolded and they would be like, making my roommate guess the object I hit him with. And then they'd throw things at him from around the house.
That's really fucking funny.
And then that guy who started that is now doing this. So he'd throw like a traffic cone at him. It was really funny and fucked up. But people they're like financially incentivized to do this on TikTok. So that's why it's happening.
Yeah, no, that's something I've thought about for a while, actually, just like the monetary incentive. And this isn't specifically just a TikTok thing. I've seen this on Twitch too, where there was that Twitch streamer that stayed awake for like 7 days. Like he was basically trying to just stay awake as long as possible and was like basically torturing himself to stay awake for as long as possible. And he was getting a ton of views and shit. And like, it's like good content, whatever, sure. But it's also kind of terrifying that we're putting ourselves through like the chamber of torture as like a jester for people to watch. It's kind of scary.
3 or 4 years ago, a YouTuber got his girlfriend to shoot him in the chest with a bulletproof vest on, and he died.
Oh my fucking!
And it was one of these. So
yeah, there's just like deep incentive to take things as crazy as possible. Yeah, and I don't know, like do what you got to do. Like,
but I kind of feel like when you see these things, like there's a trend that I saw somebody was trying to start, where he would drive by people and throw pieces of cheese at them, and it was like, "We're gonna cheese these, fucking whatever," I'm like the old crotchety fuck now that I'm like, nope, I'm reporting that. This is getting out of hand. I went through that guy's account on my own time, and I reported like 9 videos. Like this has to, you have to draw.
Wow, you really are an old crotchety motherfucker.
I did, but come on, we can't have these fucking broccoli-haired freaks throwing cheese at people just minding their own business. Enough. We need to return to a system of polite fucking society with law and order and rules and social decency.
Oh my God. Okay, let's become a return guy.
I'm a return guy for not that.
How do you feel about throwing baloney on Cybertrucks?
No, that's good. Cybertrucks aren't people. That's fine.
Okay,
I actually posted a very helpful diagram of where all the cameras on Cybertrucks are in case you keep spray painting your car. So
yeah, so just the other day I was out getting some dinner with some friends, and we were walking back to my car, and I saw a Cybertruck. As we were in there, a Cybertruck had parked a little bit behind me, and I was like, "Oh my fucking God!" So whenever you see a Cybertruck, it kind of like destroys your brain for a minute. It just doesn't seem right. I had noticed that.
I've only seen one, by the way.
I've seen too many. So fucking many.
There's a lot in like Chicago and probably where you live too. There's probably like a lot. I've seen probably close to 20 at this point. It's kind of absurd.
I don't go into
but
Seattle anymore very often, so that's probably why. I'm on the outskirts, so
definitely bigger cities will have them. But so I went up to the Cybertruck because as you do, and I just noticed that it was parked on the curb. Like the park job was just atrocious, and we were just laughing at it. And I walked up to the Cybertruck to just get a picture of the Cybertruck being just straight up on the curb, and the back lights flashed red, and I'm like, oh, that's probably to let me know that I'm being watched.
Yep.
And I had never seen that before or even heard of that. And I just think it's incredible. Sorry to get back on Elon Musk. I'm so sorry.
But I just think it's featured more and more.
Yeah, he's just everywhere. But I just think it's incredible that people have to buy a car that there's cameras on all sides because they're just made fun of so much that they have to like have a babysitter while they're not in it.
Your anti-nerd protection or whatever. Like.
Yeah. What a sad state of the world that these fucking nerds. Oh God.
Yeah, there's a couple more. Do we want to get into? And I'll stop yapping. We'll give somebody else a chance to read the next. Let's do the first actual article because we're 20-something minutes into this now.
I can do it. All right. This is by Madison Pauley at Mother Jones. This is called LGBTQ Federal Workers Brace for a McCarthyist Purge. When Michael first started working in the Department of the Interior over a decade ago, he hid the fact that he was gay from his coworkers. It can be an old boys club, explains Michael, who still works in the department and requested to use a pseudonym to protect himself from retaliation. People who were queer kept it to themselves so as not to rock the boat. But his agency grew more diverse over the years, and eventually he came out to a small group of coworkers after learning that one was a lesbian. It was important to know that he would be accepted and safe, he says, and to have a few people I could be myself with. Then, during Donald Trump's first term, Michael remembers meeting with a seasonal worker who came out as transgender and asked the staff to use he, him pronouns. His voice was cracking, his hands were shaking, Michael still recalls. It reminded him of his own early days on the job. I thought, there needs to be a group for community and support. I need to do this. So Michael started working with other queer people in his agency to form a monthly group for LGBTQ employees and anyone else who wanted to join. They organized Pride Month events, surveyed members on barriers they were facing in their jobs, and problem solved with management, like helping to get an employee's official name tag changed when they came out as transgender. Hundreds of organizations like Michael's exist through the federal government, not just for LGBTQ workers, but for veterans, Black and Hispanic workers, people with disabilities, and others who share a connection around a fundamental part of their identity. Known as employee research groups, they've long been officially recognized and approved by federal agencies. The first federal Pride Employee Resource Group at the Smithsonian was founded in 1988 at the height of the AIDS epidemic. During Trump's first term, leadership urged employees to join them. Employee organizations can serve as sounding boards around strategic diversity and inclusion matters, reads an April 2017 Interior Department bulletin, and provide a support system that offers employees a sense of community, camaraderie, and connection to the organization. But since returning to power, Trump and his allies have cast the same groups as subversive and even illegal, an example of a radical and discriminatory programs promoting diversity, equality, and inclusiveness. On February 15th, the Office of Personnel Management, essentially the executive branch's HR department, issued a memorandum telling agencies to prohibit employee research groups that promote, quote, unlawful DEIA initiatives, or employee retention agendas based on protected characteristics. The OPM memo is just one of many Trump actions generating fear of a new Lavender Scare, a purge that could roll back decades of LGBTQ gains and send those who remain in the government back into the closet. While Trump has appointed a couple token gay officials, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent and Special Missions Envoy Rick Grinnell, he's also simultaneously declared war on transgender people, issuing edicts against so-called gender ideology, and an onslaught of executive orders attempting to impose widespread discrimination against trans people in schools, hospitals, sports, homeless shelters, and prisons. The new administration's anti-LGBTQ hostility doesn't stop at the transgender community. On his second day in office, Trump rescinded a nearly 60-year-old order prohibiting discrimination by federal contractors. His appointees at the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission have halted the agency's investigation of anti-LGBTQ discrimination. Last week, the Department of Homeland Security said it will now allow its agents to conduct surveillance based solely on a target's gender identity or sexual orientation. And OPM opened a tip line for federal workers to report colleagues who have worked on DEI, a callback to an earlier era when employees were encouraged to report and out their gay coworkers.
So just to stop for a second, like that's what we're doing.
One of the things I've been thinking about a lot is how, as much as I fucking hate the guy, you know, Chris Rufo, he's the fucking he's the person, he's the person who started all of this, like, critical, he was the person who like really got critical race theory into the public sphere.
Which, by the way, if you don't know this, it's important. A lot of people do, and I'm sorry if you do, but a lot of people don't know that he just, like, before all that happened, he was like, I'm going to create this fake concept that pisses everybody off called critical race theory. He just openly explained his whole strategy, and it fucking worked.
And he still does that to this day. He's still like on Twitter every fucking day saying like, this is our next move. And like, I don't understand why there's no answer from Democrats on this, because he's openly like Dr. Eviling this type of shit.
Yeah, he just talked about it. There's a really good episode of QAA with Arif on it. And that's actually how I first became aware of Arif, my co-host on 60 Minute Drill. As he was on QAnon Anonymous talking about the history of critical race theory. And when I learned that, this was a couple of years ago, I was fucking blown away at just how brazen that was. I was like, there's no way this is going to work, right? But, well, here we are a few years later.
But the thing that they did so successfully was frame, like, diversity initiatives as bullying the straights. And, like, people are absolutely convinced that anytime someone's like, hey, I want a space where I don't feel like I have to hide my identity, they're like, oh, you're just trying to exclude the straights. It's shocking to me that people buy it.
It's bizarre that it's worked on any level, because like, sure, there's more openly gay, openly trans, like whatever, because there was like some progress in the 2010s. So a lot of people finally felt comfortable like coming out of the closet and just like being themselves and stuff.
Yeah, now we're doing fucking tip lines. Are you kidding me?
Like literally worse. Somehow, like not to be like, oh, this is just like, or this is worse than it used to be, but this is like worse than Don't Ask, Don't Tell. This is literally like literally like reporting your workers, like scheming and like trying to ruin people's lives over just who they are.
This is like the exact perfect storm and all the nightmare stuff that conservatives always say, oh, it's 1984, it's 1984. Well, this actually kind of is the stuff that was written about, like snitching on people and this and that.
Like espionage, like interdepartment espionage about someone's sex life and shit.
Yeah, to snitch on your coworker's gender identity or sex life through a hotline at work, fuck all the way off. I don't even know how to explain it. And guys, this is a really long article, and I apologize for that. Usually we do quicker ones, but it's important to hear this because this article I think is genuinely that important.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like this is not to do like a hypocrisy sort of thing, but this is like actual genuine cancel culture, and not over like being a bad person, not over like raping someone, not over like just like being an evil dastardly person, just being a person. It's cancel culture for being a person. And I don't know, we live in a fucking crazy time. Like conservatives genuinely were like shocked by gay rights, I guess, advancing the way it did. And they were like, okay, we have to take a step back. We lost this ground. We have to make sure we win the next one. Like they have been scheming all of this for at least a decade at this point. They never accepted like gay rights or anything.
They never accept the lie that they say, oh, well, I was fine with like whatever you guys want to do until you shoved it down my face or whatever. No, that was always bullshit. And this is proof of that.
Yeah, no, I just don't understand how this has tricked anyone or how it's a hysteria that matters to anyone. Like, unless you're in a big city, you probably know like a gay dude or like a lesbian or like maybe a trans person. Like this is just people being mad about going online and having to see like a trans flag every once in a while and that like ruining their brains. It's psychotic to me that anyone cares on any real way where this actually makes a difference in people's like lives, where they wake up and they're like, ooh, I hate that trans flag. Oh, I hate, like, come on. I don't even think about it that much.
My gay coworker to the Nazi Stasi fucking a hotline at work. Like I don't know. It's so genuinely disgusting to me.
It's One other thing I was going to say is like in a lot of this polling in this administration so far, a really funny thing that I've seen in 2 different polls now is that DEI polls higher than Donald Trump, which is like, what are we doing here? Like, how did they convince anyone that this was something that we need to spend any time on?
Because most people see through the bullshit. DEI is just like a way to it doesn't matter. We don't need to get into that.
Yeah.
It's not.
But here's the thing: is I do think that this intense right-wing backlash will come back to bite them in the ass, because so many people know a gay person, so many people know a trans person. There's a lot of queer people out there now. Gen Z, I think close to 20% of Gen Z is gay, bisexual, trans, whatever. That's a lot of people. This is gonna backlash. When I was growing up, when I was in high school, gay marriage wasn't legal yet. And I saw how Republicans went on the news with the Bible and talked about gay people and what they said about gay people. And that's something I will never forget, and why I will never, ever, 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 ever support any Republican ever, because I know how they are. They can't fool me. We know what they're like. And this is going to be an intense backlash in a way that, for, I think, millennials and close to the tail end of millennials, which I guess I am. I think this is going to be another long-term thing where it's going to impact Zoomers in a way where they will never ever forget how Republicans think of them. It's just going to hurt them long term. It sucks for now. It's really bad now, and it could be disastrously bad. This is literal McCarthyist type rhetoric. This is communist era hysteria about people being people. And I do think it's bad now. It's scary, very scary, but it's long term gonna bite them in the ass. I just don't understand why they think this is gonna work long term, unless they just cancel elections forever, which I guess maybe, I don't know, we'll see. I hope that's not happening.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah. I don't know. I could talk about this for hours. And I have been, not on this podcast, but just generally.
Let's. I'll put it this way. It's a great article. It's going to be in the show notes. Why don't we move along from that so we don't
Sure.
What I will say before we move on is I'm talking to one of my friends. So for the election, I just did a solo episode. I've been talking to one of my close friends, and we're thinking about doing just a me and her kind of talking about all of this stuff as its own dedicated episode. That's the plan. We haven't done it yet. We're hopefully going to do that very soon to kind of give hey, this is what's happening. This is what trans people have to be aware of. It's basically a boot camp of Trump's second term. If you're trans, to be aware of. I'm hoping we do that soon. I guess just putting that out there. I do have a plan, because some people have been asking me, can you do an episode specifically about this stuff? And I just want to say I have seen those requests, and I'm planning on it. So hopefully within the month.
Yeah, a lot of people in Discord ask about that, and I'm glad that we're doing that.
Yeah, I'll keep you guys updated about that one.
This is about half of the article. I think that you should read the whole thing. I just I don't know. Let's maybe. Well, I want to end this on maybe an optimistic or at least funny note if we can. And it doesn't get any funnier or better in this article. It just gets quite a bit worse. So there's a lot of harrowing quotes from people in the federal government who are I'm just a queer person or a gay man, this, that, whatever. And I'm genuinely scared I'm just going to lose my job for the way that I am. And that's it. And that's completely and totally unacceptable. But,
it's just straight up evil, genuinely.
Yeah. On some good news, though, Tesla sales are cratering across the world. Cause and effect, motherfucker. This is from InsideElectricVehicles.com or InsideEVs.com, excuse me, by a man named Patrick George. And let's see here. Alex, you want to read this one?
I would love to. Hold on. Give me a second. I didn't. All right. This is by Patrick George from InsideEVs.com. Let's see. In recent days, full year and January sales results from various markets around the world indicate a bleak picture for the Elon Musk-led electric vehicle company. They're talking about Tesla, for all of you who don't know what I'm
Yeah, I don't know why they walked 500 miles around saying Tesla is cratering, but okay.
Even as it added Cybertruck to its lineup in large volumes last year, which should have unlocked more buyers in America's expensive pickup truck field, Tesla is seeing serious declines in places where it once had a near lock on electric sales. Let's take a look at some of the areas taking the hardest hits. As various outlets covered this week, the California New Car Dealers Association, its latest data indicates that EV sales leveled off in the Golden State last year, holding a steady 25.3% of new car sales, just slightly up from 2023's result of 25%. Granted, while it's quite impressive for 1 in 4 new cars sold in California to be entirely electric, a slowdown in the once rapid EV growth has coincided with a big decline in Tesla sales. Their report doesn't mince words. Quote, all of the decrease in the state market last year was attributable to Tesla, which had an 11.6% decline. Registrations for all other brands increased 1.4%. And that's
right,
for all
Mitch.
new passenger vehicle registrations in California, not just electric vehicles.
Get their ass.
I'm going to skip this one. Let's see here. The story gets worse in other parts of the world. In Germany, where Tesla was the longtime EV sales leader, even as new entries from Volkswagen, BMW, Audi, and various Chinese brands started showing up, sales declined a whole 60% in January.
Ouch.
Yeah, that's like disaster level. That's like, you got to close shop, dude.
Just 1,277 registrations in Europe's biggest car market, according to Fortune. Tesla sales were also down 63% in France in January, another large car market from a year earlier. They dropped 8% in the UK year over year in January, even as all electric vehicle sales rose 21% of the British to 21% of the British car market, a 7-point increase from 2024. No Tesla cracked the UK's top 10 bestseller list last month, something that has regularly happened in the past, Ars Technica reported this week. And one trend is especially worth watching is what's happening in China, which makes up more than a third of Tesla's global sales. In China, which leads the world in total all-electric hybrid sales, Tesla dropped 11.5% in January.
Holy shit.
My question is just, when is the board going to can him?
That's something I've been wondering for years now, ever since he
Could
bought
it
Twitter.
ever happen?
I don't know. Does he have? I feel like he has fucked up enough to justify it, right? Like all of this, what's like he's destroying Tesla as a brand. Like in the past, I think all of us here were on the hate Elon Musk train for a while, but like, I don't know. Like, it sucks that Tesla is such a big like electrical vehicle product because I'm actively rooting against it. I'm actively rooting against electric vehicles replacing gas vehicles, and it's a double-edged, like it's annoying as fuck that this, like, the most evil dude, one of the most evil dudes alive is like making me do this with electric vehicles, which is like generally a good thing, like electric vehicles. But thank God there's like different types of vehicles kind of taking place where Tesla once would have.
That's another thing. The other manufacturers are catching up. So there's that. And then if he wants to continue to, like, I mean, whatever you want to say, trying to be agnostic of politics. And June, you were the biologist of this show. I got my degree in business. Okay.
Yeah.
If you are the CEO of a company and you pivot very publicly and very hard to one section of the political spectrum, you are going to alienate the rest of the country, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And who historically has purchased electric vehicles? People on the left.
Yeah.
So it's like a
Good
very
liberals.
disastrous and stupid idea. And that is why the year-to-date stock for Tesla is down almost 13%. So,
which is incredible, because you'd think that, especially after the election, I was just looking at the stock history today, like right after the election, it kind of popped off a little bit. Right when him and Trump got in office, it, like, basically, if I remember, peaked at around like $430, and it lost all of that already. It's like from that high point, it's down like 25%, which, like, you can argue, of course, stocks don't necessarily mean the success of a brand, but sales are way down across the world. Stocks are like way down, even way lower than the average stock fall that we've seen in the last few days. Like he's just actively destroying the brand among the people that care about electric vehicles the most. Little bit later in this article, it looks like people who drive gas cars have a more favorable opinion. Yeah. So 42% of gas drivers find Elon Musk favorable, and 35 electric vehicle drivers find him favorable. Like, that's a really bad position to be in if you're the ambassador for an electric vehicle brand. I feel like
interesting across the spectrum here for this study that they're citing. It's basically a study of various demographics: male, female, either drive a gas car, drive an EV, you drive a pickup truck, or you are considering buying an electric vehicle. Across the board, he does not have over 50% favorability in any column. None. Not
even men, which is where you would probably
not even
have seen
men.
it.
Yep. Not even pickup drivers.
Which is atrocious for literally the face of electric vehicles in the US, basically. Like, there's different companies, but he's like, when people think electric vehicles, they probably think Elon Musk just on average. And for this to be the case is awful. And also, just something that we've talked a lot about on the show, specifically with the South Korea episodes, something we're noticing, or that I've been noticing, I'm sure you guys have too, that in this most recent election, women and men voted at the like widest like differential than they ever have in American politics. And same with Germany. They just had their most recent election, and women surged to the left and men surged to the right. And I just think it's really fucking crazy watching the like wide gender divide, because we've talked a lot about like the gender politics and the gender war in South Korea. And I feel like it's really starting to take shape across the entire world now. And that's, I don't know, I have a lot of thoughts about that. It's like really concerning. Like, I'm glad that women are surging left, but
material conditions that made them advance that first. But yeah, that's why we said it. It's going to catch up here, and it is. And
if all trends continue, I think it's just going to either stay the same or get worse. And I think we can probably dig a little bit deeper about like how that would maybe manifest in the US and different countries. But based off of what we've seen in South Korea, it's not been great. to say the least. I mean, we've seen like men in America go into the arms of like people like Andrew Tate, who are just like literal rapists and evil. Like all of these people, like the manosphere is big right now.
And then Trump is, of course, trying to get him extradited back to the United States, or because he's realized that that's his meal ticket is the rapists. He wants the rapist vote. So that's what he's going for.
He's trying to put together the largest rape administration that we've ever seen. Somehow that was not Bill Clinton. It's Donald Trump.
Do we want to, in the middle of the episode here, take the listener questions, or do we want to do that at the end, or what? Because we still got a couple articles, and we can kind of do the listener questions and then read the rest as we see fit.
Let's do the questions right now. I'm cool with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, we got a lot, so if yours doesn't get read, that's just there was a couple that were like really dense that I have to read and think about how to respond to. But we'll do some of the lighter ones, just a couple.
Yeah, I think in the past when we've asked people in our Discord, we've gotten a lot of questions, but we also just have like probably 4 times the amount of people since we've last done this in the Discord. So we got even more questions than normal.
Yep. This one is Dear Woke Moralists. Regarding episodes you've done in the past about the rise of old internet websites, are there any other old internet websites you plan on doing episodes of? Signed, Apeless in Appalachia. P.S. Don't fuck with gamers. Correct.
Do not fuck with gamers.
Yeah, I think we got a couple. I don't want to spoil too much. They asked about a couple specific, like E-Bombs World and Reddit and You're the Man Now Dog. Yes to all of those are interesting. We had one kind of planned on Reddit, but it's the same issue with 4chan where it's like, holy shit, how do you distill that down into a single podcast episode? That's really tricky. So we're trying to figure that out.
Yeah, that's been in our plans for probably over half a year at this point. We just haven't gotten to that one yet.
Yeah,
specifically Reddit. Yeah.
Yeah, specifically Reddit's going to happen. I would love to do E-Bombs World. That was such a fascinating, especially when they feuded with Something Awful and all that stuff. There was like a whole like internet coalition of like websites that, because E-Bombs World was stealing memes.
Oh, yeah.
Basically.
E-Bombs World would steal other people's work. It was during the like Flash animation era, and they would take the Flash animation and crop out watermarks and then be like, check out this cool Flash animation we've got on our website.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my God. See, I was never on that website, so all of that would be new to me.
Oh,
That would
dude,
be a fascinating
when I was
one.
18, I was on the I was on the front page of E-Bombs World for something silly I did.
what was it? Can you whenever you start like giving
I'll
us
take
little
that question off air.
Every fucking time. You're like, I was here at this pivotal moment in internet history, and we're like, what'd you do? And you're like,
Yeah, no, it's not. It was silly. It was a Halloween costume I had. That's all I'm going to say, because it'd be very easy to identify me.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I think another one that I think have more like sooner plans on covering is the bodybuilder.com forums.
Yep.
So that one should be coming probably by the end of March, if I had to guess. Hopefully, no promises on specifically that, but yeah, we have like a lot of different forums that we're going to be taking a look at, and like the history of, and like how it maybe relates to the politics of today.
Definitely. Yeah, lots coming. Stay tuned. That like as long as this show exists going forward, I just think that the side series of like old internet website stuff is just going to stick around. Even if it's bonus content, even if it's Patreon stuff, because it's just too interesting to me. It's like the thing that I get weird about. So
plus Caleb and I are fucking old heads, so
we need to sing the Sermon on the Mountain of like how the internet used to be.
And a lot of this lore is all new to me. So I learned like a lot of new stuff, like E-Bombs World. I don't know anything about that fucking website.
Yeah, we gotta spread the lore to the young people.
Yeah, there's so many people that want to learn.
This is from Jody on Discord. Hey, long-time listener, first-time caller. As somebody who tries to keep pretty up-to-date with everything going on in the world and the internet, it's done a number on my mentals, and I was wondering how the three of you on the podcast managed to religiously consume this stuff and remain sane enough to deal with this shit on a daily basis. Is it exposure therapy of sorts? Disconnect with something else entirely? Sorry for the kind of personal question. Big fan of the show. Who wants to go? I have thoughts, but who wants to go first?
For a long time, I've like religiously paid attention to news, and I still do. But I think for the first time in my life, I think I've cut back a little bit on my news intake. I still keep up to date with like a lot of the breaking stuff and a lot of the stuff that I know will impact me or people I know or just generally the world. So I do keep up. But it's important to like, for at least from my perspective, I don't know what you two do, but you just like genuinely like do things with people in real life. Like if you have people in like your personal life, go out, like genuinely go outside. Like if you have a couple of friends, organize hangouts somewhere, like be together, talk to people, that you care about and, spend time with them. And also like have hobbies. It's really important to have hobbies, just generally, and just to like do, like I've been doing like some crafty things recently. I have a friend who has started doing these like once a month. We get together and just do different things. And last month we did like a painting thing. So we like I've been like here and there trying to finish my painting. Stuff like that's really fun. And then there was one other thing I was going to say. Oh yeah, I like started working out recently. I don't really know how this like would necessarily relate, but I feel like ever since I've started working out like 2 months ago, I've been like a little bit sharper mentally and like a little bit more just kind of there. I've been enjoying working out. So that's been fun. I don't know. I've been trying to do a lot of different things.
It's the worst and most frustrating thing I've ever learned in my life, that working out is actually really good for your brain.
It's good. They're right. Whenever people say that, they're right. They're correct. And I've been sleeping a lot better recently. I'm so tired every day that I do it. And I work out like 4 to 5 days a week right now. So just keep busy in real life. Don't spend 13 hours online every day.
I find that when I notice myself going online a lot and like engaging with weirdos and fighting online, that like, oh, that's when my brain is bad. So if you see me doing that online, that's like because I'm not doing well. That's like because I am not taking care of myself. I mean, you know, I'll always get in a good dig on fucking Smash JT or whatever, but like if I'm just fighting with strangers online and you see me doing it, feel free to check in.
I did that kind of recently, like last week, and I'm like, ooh, I know I'm not doing good at the moment. Fuck, I gotta log off. Thankfully, I was busy a little bit later that day, but for that like 2 hours, I was in the trenches just yelling at some person like that. I was like, what am I doing here?
The only person I've been yelling at lately is that big titty AI fairy who comes into my my mentions and talks about
dude.
And talks about fucking conservative stuff. Today she was like, why are you interacting with someone with a Palestinian flag in their name? Don't you know they want to destroy Jews? And I was like, okay. All right, AI fairy. What's good?
What do you do, Caleb?
I've never been mad in my life.
Oh yeah,
I'm famously very happy and do really well mentally all the time.
Oh yeah.
But no, more seriously, like I think you guys covered a lot of it. I just like I try to, instead of avoiding things, because you can't. I don't think that like the touch grass stuff advice and all that is like genuinely good advice. That's true, but you can't. Even so, you can't really avoid, like, to be online, you're going to get exposed to this stuff. So I just kind of like try and find ways that I can wrap my head around certain things. So instead of just like endlessly reading news stories and getting pissed off or whatever, I try and focus, and I think that you guys would agree, like the relationships that people have with the internet in these contexts, and that's a more human thing that I can wrap my brain around a little bit. And that is a lot easier to digest than like some, like if you think about, I don't know, man, I don't know how like zoomed out you want to get here, but if you think about this stuff, like, yeah, it's actually kind of true that these are just like abstractions. These are Elon Musk in your day-to-day life. He's just a guy that kind of lives in your head. Donald Trump is the president, but like most of the stuff that you get mad about, it's like, well, I wouldn't be upset if this wasn't going on in my actual day-to-day life. And it's true that there are obviously things that the president and his crony henchmen that he's sucking the toes of can do that can make your life a lot worse. But there's so much of it that you can just cut out, you know? So much of the noise is very easy to avoid. And that's just what I try and focus on.
I think just to extend on that, because there are things that are important to pay attention to and to know. And I think something to also do, something I learned just like a couple of years ago, I was, just for context, I know a lot of listeners, just because I joke about it every once in a while. I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis like 4 or 5 years ago at this point. And before I knew what my diagnosis was, I had a lot of severe stomach pain, and I was like worried I might have had cancer, just because like my brain would go to that. Like if you have some mysterious pain that won't go away and nothing like is working, of course you're going to think it's
same page, June, by the way, till I got my diagnosis. Recently I was very scared that I was like dying.
Yeah, it's just easy to go to the worst possible point. And when you figure out the diagnosis and a plan forward, it brings a level of calm over you where you're like, okay, I'm glad I know. Like, I wish I didn't have this, but I am glad I know what I have, because I can do this, and this to account for it and make it better in my life, and to like reduce the pain, all that sort of thing. And I think you can kind of apply that to like politics in general. Like everything's really fucking scary right now, especially for trans people. But if you kind of have like a plan, if you kind of have like a community that takes care of each other, that can maybe pick up where maybe losing access to healthcare would come in, maybe you can, like, I don't know, do some mutual aid. Maybe you can do some, without getting too specific right now, but like you can like be there for people. You can have like action plans that will actually make a difference in people's lives. And I think having that sort of like plan of attack, that sort of thing where maybe things are bad right now, but there are things I can do and I'm actively doing that are making my life a little bit more full, and helping take care of people around me. I think that can kind of bring a level of calm, slightly more calm. Maybe we're still worried a little bit, but like, because all of this will always make me mad, all of this politics. But
a very important thing to remember is that posting and reading bad news isn't politics.
Right.
And getting involved on the local level, even if it's just like, oh, there's a soup kitchen I can volunteer at, you have like so much more power to positively affect people's lives directly than you realize. And I do that. I don't know. I not only do that stuff, but like I make it a point to be like, hey, kids, Sunday we are going to go volunteer and do this and that, because like you guys need to fucking know that like this is how the world works, and you need to be out there helping people. And it sucks because I want to sleep in on Sundays, but I also like it also helps me feel like not helpless in a time that does feel very helpless.
This kind of moment, and I don't know how to really like say this, but there's like a base level of nihilism that is necessary for you to feel these things, and that is kind of like what's going on in the world. And the best way to kind of refute that is what Alex just said, and Megan Rome, we talked to her a few weeks back, had said kind of something similar. Acts of selflessness are the ultimate repudiation of that nihilism. Go do something good for somebody else. Go be with other people. Go be kind to somebody. And I know that's such just simple level like advice, but it's fucking true, man. It just is.
It is.
Go do something good.
Absolutely. Totally co-sign.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's move on here. Here's one, and again, if you wrote to us, I appreciate it genuinely. Hopefully we'll get to them in the next time we take questions. You've mentioned that you've struggled with monetization and ads because nobody wants to place ads next to y'all talking about Grums being a perverted onanist. That is the exact term I used. You are an astute listener. That is true. There's probably a market for ads and other placements, but they need to be purchased directly. Western Kabuki Podcast Network, when? That one was interesting to me because I've actually thought about that. The math does make sense of like, if we had a group of essentially podcasts that we're friends with and we had enough downloads, we could go directly to advertisers and purchase them, these ad reads directly. I actually have experience doing that myself. It's just, that's a fucking full-time job at that point, and I just don't have the bandwidth. I would love to, like the Western Kabuki Podcast Network would be so sick, and we could definitely do it, and that would be fun.
That would be really fun, and I genuinely wish that's something I think all of us had the time to do right now, but we all have like other jobs too. Like we do this, and this is
we'd have to hire a full-time ad salesperson, and that person.
If the Patreon made, I think, a little bit more, and I could like survive and have an apartment if just off that, then I could like, okay, I'll just take that job and I'll do it for sure. We're not quite there. Maybe that would be a lot of fun, and it would be awesome. It would be like our own little thing,
a genuinely fun thing to just see if we could do. But yeah, no, I think if that were to happen, if it ever were to, that might be like a year from now, or if not, even
we're
longer.
Close, but we're not there yet.
Yeah,
like it's just not like,
because we would all have to quit our other jobs.
If any of you people who liked Reply All want to know why it took me 2 years to start a new podcast, it's because I am the world's worst salesman for myself or for anything else. So there's no way in hell I would be able to sell those ads. It would be all Caleb if it was anyone.
Yeah,
it's a lot of work.
Unfortunately, I am the business pervert, so maybe is the answer to that. Okay, let's do one more article. Do we want to do? Oh man, okay. So here are the four, and so I'm going to read these off so that the listeners know what they missed out on when we choose.
We'll just do lightning round. We'll lightning round all the headlines and then focus on one.
Yep. Okay. Microsoft. This is so good. Great news. Microsoft is scaling back its data centers for AI, and is.
Go on. Sorry.
That is bad news. This is if you listen to Better Offline, this is like kind of close to one of Ed's pale horses, he calls them, of things to look for AI cratering. Actually, you know what? he won't care. I'm gonna read a text he sent me earlier because I sent him this article and asked him about it, and he said something that was very funny. Hang on.
No, I whenever I see AI news pop up, the first thing I do is go to Ed's Blue Sky feed, and always, without fail, I see the smiling man quote tweet on that article, and that always makes my morning just that much better. So I shout out to Ed's smiling man bit that he's been doing for like years now.
Yeah. So basically, he sent two responses, and one was like, well, like Microsoft says it's not what it is, but this is like he thinks it's like PR speak because the summary is Microsoft has to like have AI going because it's not for people. They're doing this for like investors and shareholders to like keep the stock up, and their stock did drop today somewhat considerably. So he said that, and then he said, if this is what I think it is, this shit is going to get really bad, and they will hoist me on a chair and declare me god of the pigs.
Sorry, you cut out a little bit. I missed it.
Oh, okay.
You became like a robot. If you want to reread that text.
Yep. If this is what I think it is, this shit is going to get really bad, and they will hoist me on a chair and declare me god of the pigs.
No, he's been kind of on that beat for a while, that this is all just kind of an artificial bubble, that all of these like billionaire perverts are just flooding with money to hopefully get some sort of success. And we've seen that time and time again of just like
the potato is getting hotter.
Yeah. and every time I see a story like this, I know we're gonna hit the point where everyone knew that NFT, like Bored Ape NFTs, were like on the decline, and I think we're gonna get there soon with AI, specifically like generative AI, which I think a lot of this stuff is generally like what they're talking about, like generative AI, like text, all that, like images, all that sort of shit, and it's a bubble that's gonna pop at some point, and I cannot wait.
Yeah. Okay. Next headline: United Health is sick of everyone complaining about its claim denials. That's from our friend Miles Klee.
Oh, shout out. Mm-hmm. Incredible. United Health has I've seen that they've done like cease and desists for people too, like stop talking bad about us, stop, like ever since Luigi Mangione came on the scene, they have kind of taken a weirdly aggressive approach to social media where they're just kind of yelling at everyone whenever they can.
Well, it's like I always say, if you don't want to be murdered by a disgruntled former customer, just don't deny their necessary health care.
Yeah. And even worse, he's Italian, so everyone's going to fall in love. Everyone's going to fall in love with him. I'm sorry. That's just what happens.
Yeah. Go read that article with from Miles, good friend, been on the show a million times. It's good. This one is really funny. Brazilian mayor faked gun attack for poll boost, got shot, then lost the election anyway. So we won't read the article, but the summary is basically that this mayor, he tries to like stage like a terrorist attack to make him look like heroic. He wasn't supposed to get shot. The guy that he hired in like an Always Sunny-esque moment or something, like just shot him and he almost died. Like he was hospitalized and then got like landslide lost the election.
That's awesome. He couldn't pull off what Donald Trump pulled off with his fake assassination attempt. Yeah,
dude, he was trying to be like Trump.
He was literally every time. I love Brazilian politics because that's one of the countries I pay a little bit more attention to compared to most countries. And every time there's a new story about Brazil, it's stuff like this, like fake gun attack,
something crazy,
or Bolsonaro back in hospital with new disease. He's the first case of it ever.
He's gonna be the first person to get bird flu too when it finally is like human to human.
Yeah.
Bolsonaro.
Next time he's in the hospital, beware. It's gonna be that one. And it's like every other news story
Patient Zero,
like shit like this.
His goose is kind of cooked though, isn't it? Like with this whole.
He's going to jail, I think, right?
His whole Lula assassination attempt.
Yeah, because who broke that story? But someone broke the story that he was like in talks to get Lula da Silva assassinated.
He was trying to poison him.
Yeah. He's like totally cooked. He's got to be going to jail. Like that dude is evil. he's going to jail. He's going to get all sorts of different diseases there, ones that he hasn't experienced yet. So maybe he'll enjoy it.
Yeah. Last headline, and this one is really good. I'm so sad that it is 60-minute drill off season, because this would have been an amazing episode. But former NFL star Steve Smith Sr. accused of cheating with Baltimore Ravens marching band member in explicit X posts. So let me just give you guys the rundown on this, and we can talk about it. Steve Smith Sr. is a former NFL player. He was with the Panthers for many years, and then retired with his last few years in his career were with the Baltimore Ravens. And he's still very involved with the Ravens organization. A very funny picture that you can find of him right now is him leading the marching band in a marching band outfit.
Oh my God.
And he was apparently having sex with a woman that was in the marching band, and her husband, Tony Martinez, decided to go on to X, the Everything app, and blaze his glory by responding and tagging like hundreds of posts. Like,
I saw this video yesterday, and I had no clue who this person was or what was going on. So this is
here's the context. It was the one that I saw that was the fucking funniest. He was responding to Kanye. He doesn't read anything that he's responding to. But he responded to a post of Kanye West calling Apple gay. And then he's like, yeah, Steve Smith fucked my wife, dude. Everybody needs to check this out. But like hundreds of posts tagging Steve Smith, tagging the Ravens, tagging the Panthers, tagging the NFL, tagging TMZ, and just put it out there of all like the sexts that he found between Steve Smith and his wife. And then a recorded phone call where he calls Steve Smith Sr. on the phone, was like, why'd you fuck my wife? And Steve Smith Sr. is crying. And this goes like absurd mega viral.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I just think that like, that's a cuck who got pushed to the edge, man. I mean,
the Steve Smith, the thing I heard was, I didn't watch the full video because I didn't know either of the parties in it, but there was one of them was he calls Steve Smith and he's like, why the fuck did you fuck my wife? And Steve Smith is quiet and he's like, you don't have anything to say. And he's like, sorry.
Yeah. He was crying and then said, I'm sorry. And by the way, we made a Steve Smith Sr. emoji in the 60-minute drill Discord, and it's the most used emoji in history for sure. So,
that's incredible. I somehow missed
funny.
that. See, what I will say is I'm so mad that Elon has bought and destroyed Twitter, because I don't get on Twitter as much anymore. And
wouldn't
I
that
miss
have been
shit
a
like
fun
that.
moment for everybody to experience together, as opposed to like having to hear about that in a podcast episode?
Yeah. But I'm glad I know about it. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was super funny. I just can't imagine being in the mindset of like telling everybody in the world, trying to get millions of people to understand that an NFL star like had sex with your wife. But you know, what else can you do? He wanted to take him down.
Yeah, he did it, I assume.
Steve Smith, by the way, is married and is about to lose everything. So he wanted to hurt Steve Smith back, and I think that he succeeded.
So I think we're gonna see him in Grum's reply section very soon.
Yeah. Okay, that's probably a good place to end it. Thanks to everybody who wrote us stuff. We'll try and finish the rest of the questions in a future episode.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Anything
else you guys want to promote?
Nope.
Anything going on? Okay. We've still got the Chicago show, so we've been kind of held off for a while on promoting that, because I think we wanted to hang on to some like last minute tickets. It's like almost sold out. There's like just a handful, and you can go to wkchicago.brownpapertickets.com to get any remaining ones if you would like to see us live on March 15th. And,
it's gonna be a lot of fun. I think it'll be a real treat. I cannot wait.
Yeah, I haven't we've been talking about what we want to do for the live one. I think we're gonna do the bracket, but we're gonna do the bracket live.
Yeah, and then we'll workshop it. But I have another idea for like before we get to the bracket, like a little topic that we'll talk about it. But I have an idea of something that would be hopefully very funny and a very fun thing to talk about that we'll touch base on soon.
Yeah. Okay. And then I'm just gonna spout out some links. Discord.gg/Western Kabuki. r/Western Kabuki. So we've got the Discord up. if you don't want to be on Discord, if you don't use Discord, we do have a Reddit. We have never done anything with it at all. We should start probably pushing people there.